Upload begins when you press here.
You know, Johnny, you may run into spoilers for the movie film Johnny Mnemonic.
Hit me.
This is Diabolical, a comedy podcast where four long-suffering friends dissect films' most dastardly schemes, then compete to improve them. I'm your host Gaz, and this week's movie is 1995's flop cyberpunk adventure, Johnny Mnemonic. So, Peril Pals, try not to overload the storage capacity of your brain whilst listening. Seriously, insert a new podcast intro running gag here, please. And let's get diabolical! Hello, and welcome to this week's pod, wherein these data smugglers and I comprise the Panel of Peril, who will compete to see who can improve the villainous plan of the week the best to earn points for our leaderboard in the show's competitive round. But first, if you could tell our lovely Peril Pals your names, and tell me a favourite early memory of using the internet, the information superhighway. And we'll begin with Super Dude.
That's me. Hey, Peril Pals, it's Craig here. They call me Super Dude. And one of my very early memories of the internet that's a favourite of mine is a shared one with Gaz, because we didn't have internet in my house, but Gaz had it in his. And what I loved is whenever we went round there to use the internet, we had to ask Gaz's dad to free up the phone line so that we could use the internet. Because back in those days, the internet and the phone line was the same line.
Yeah. Used to cause a lot of bother.
What did we do on the internet? Well, we signed up to Facebook. That was quite fun at the time. And I think we invented trolling, didn't we, Gaz? We used to go on the IMDb forums and tell people that there was a Smallville movie being made with Tom Welly. Even though I knew his name was Tom Welling. Oh, it wound people up.
It really did. It was a lot of fun.
You evil shits.
But wait, so Facebook, that must have been like 2000 and something.
They didn't even invent it till about 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
Maybe that was later on. We used to ask Jeeves an awful lot of things.
He's so knowledgeable.
Yeah. Ask Jeeves was more of a fun interface than Google, especially these days.
Is it still a thing, Ask Jeeves? It might still be.
No, it's long dormant.
Oh, dear.
Google broke his legs.
Well, since he was last on the mic, let's hear from Adam.
Greetings and good modems to you all.
Oh, topical.
My earliest memory is when I was in school.
It's meant to be your earliest memory of the internet.
It's linked to school, you see.
Oh, I see.
I did IT in school.
Yeah,
Yes,
I remember.
Yes, my
Yeah.
love. Yes, my love. Yes.
I think I know what you're going
Anyway.
to say as well, because I remember doing this as well. Something to do with QuickTime.
No. Kind of. No, but we got asked to sign up for emails and stuff, and one particular tosspot teacher used to teach IT. Said don't use big names and complicated names that we can't remember and stuff that will make his life more difficult. And we did proceed to make silly names, such as mine was, at the time I was a big Oasis fan, and it was oasispsycho@yahoo.com.
I've sent emails to that address, I remember it.
And then other people created other silly type email addresses as well.
Oasis are back now. It's cool to like Oasis now.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
Or to say that you hate them, one or the other.
Yeah.
I was there at the time, and I fucking don't like him anymore, so fuck off.
Very good. Next, let's hear from Ben.
A cyber welcome to you all.
Oh, they're all knocking it out of the park.
Oh.
Wow.
Ben here, and my earliest internet memory is a shared memory with a long-time fan of the podcast, Stuart Wynn, because he had the internet, whereas I did not have said internet.
Yeah.
We'd go around to Stuart's house and we'd dial up the modem, and every time Stuart would be insisting to me that the modem was saying die. You know that noise it'd make? It'd be like, die. He was sure it was saying die.
I feel like William Gibson would love that.
And then we'd go on chat rooms and just cause trouble. I remember getting cursed by a Romanian person.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
Cursed.
You mean like properly cursed?
Properly cursed.
Not like cussed out? Wow.
Internet
How do you
cursed,
know?
yeah.
They were probably just saying they were Romanian just to put the shits up you.
Yeah, possibly. Because, I mean, I live a charmed life.
Exactly. Exactly. You've got bandanas coming out your a-hole.
Bandanas, vests.
Yeah, exactly.
You name it.
You name it, yeah.
Still got all your hair. It's no longer on your head, but you still got all of it.
Yeah.
Slipped down my body to my
It's
ankles.
migrated.
It's heading south for the winter.
And it's been a long, lonely winter, let me tell you.
It'll be lonely Christmas.
And my earliest memory of using the internet, I'm surprised no one else took this. I'm pretty sure we're all there. Again, it's the school memory.
Yeah, I think I know what you're going to say. QuickTime.
Yeah. Trying to download the first trailer for the first X-Men film over the course of an hour's lunch break and failing to get it downloaded inside.
Yeah. And it was on a tiny fucking QuickTime window. Like, how big was it? Like the size of 4 postage stamps, pretty much? Tiny. On one of those awesome, colourful Apple
iMacs.
Yeah, they were very big.
I thought now that you said it's X-Men, I do remember that, but I was going to say Phantom Menace. I remember we did that as well in school. Which was
feel
what,
like
99?
That may have been more successful than the X-Men attempt.
Yeah. But now that you said it, I remember watching that trailer, because that was a cool trailer at the time.
Oh, yeah. State of the art. State of the art looks like shit now. State of the art.
Yeah. Well, it was only little there, wasn't it, so we didn't know.
Johnny Mnemonic is a 1995 cyberpunk action film directed by Robert Longo in his feature directorial debut. William Gibson, who wrote the 1981 short story, also wrote the screenplay. The film, set in 2021, portrays a dystopian future racked by a tech-induced plague awash with conspiracies and dominated by megacorporations and organised crime. Keanu Reeves plays Johnny, a data courier with an overloaded brain implant designed to securely store confidential information. Takeshi Kitano portrays a Yakuza affiliated with a megacorporation attempting to suppress the data. He hires a psychopathic assassin played by Dolph Lundgren to do so. Ice-T and Dina Meyer co-star as Johnny's allies, a freedom fighter and a bodyguard respectively. Johnny is a mnemonic courier who discreetly transports sensitive data for corporations in a storage device implanted in his brain at the cost of his own childhood memories. His current job is for a group of scientists in Beijing. Johnny initially balks when he learns the data exceeds his memory capacity, even with compression, but agrees given the large fee will be enough to cover the cost of the operation to remove the device. Johnny keeps it secret that he is overloaded. He must have the data extracted within a few days or suffer fatal brain damage and corrupt the data. Portraying the internet as a visible, nearly tangible space that is navigated through physical actions, the film has a unique look and ideas such as a dolphin that can decrypt data. It isn't well regarded overall, though it has a small cult following of fans, including your humble host naturally, despite being a critical and commercial flop. But before we get to the panel's thoughts on the film, let's just have a little time out and we'll do a little quiz about star Keanu Reeves.
We'll get you in your new feature.
I think you haven't done a time out for a long time.
I must have really bored this week.
1963 was the last one.
I've remembered that I downloaded an app about a year ago for the purpose of doing quizzes on the podcast that I've never actually used.
Oh, I see.
So I found...
Oh, guys, with this quiz, you are really spoiling girls.
Enchanté.
Okay, I've picked a quiz entitled Keanu Reeves Movies. There's 69 questions, but let's maybe do 10.
69, dudes.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, yeah. I suspect Super Dude might win this since he's a Keanu Reeves fanboy.
Yeah.
And has his calendar on the wall behind him.
Okay.
Keanu Reeves' 1996 calendar.
Yeah.
No, it's one of those naked fireman calendars, but you just put Keanu Reeves' face over all the firemen.
Not over the faces, though. Sometimes on the front of the fire engine, like a Thomas tank.
Okay, this quiz is entitled Keanu Reeves Needs a Job, and you have to pick the occupation that the characters that Keanu Reeves played in the film has. There's 20 questions, so we'll see how we go. We might do all 20, we might not. Okay, so Something's Gotta Give, 2003. I have no idea on this. I can't see the answer.
No.
I didn't know he was in it.
No, me neither. Do you want me to read some options? There's quite a few options here.
Paedophile hunter.
Hang on. Something's Got to Give. That's with Jack Nicholson and Diane Keaton, right?
Keaton.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And Keanu Reeves plays like her lover, I think, maybe.
Yeah, I
So
think-
I'm going to say his occupation is
That's not a
Diane
job.
Keaton's lover. Or beach shell salesman. Or like a beach surf guy. One of those.
Gynecologist.
Yeah, well, there's an option on here that says doctor, which is ringing a bell with me, him playing a doctor in a white gown. Says
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
good doctor.
He doesn't. Yeah. I think he's miscast there if he was a doctor.
Clicking doctor. I think it's correct. It's gone green. Very good.
Nice.
Oh, God. Okay.
What was his speciality? Gyno.
Presumably, he's a male doctor
No.
with a woman. Could only be a guy.
But doctor.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, 1989.
Student.
Unemployed.
Student.
Rockstar.
We've got high school student.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Looking
one.
for that.
Yes, that's also green.
I've never seen Bill and Ted, so...
All right.
Oh, I have, but
As if.
probably
Because I've seen Bill and fucking Ted.
20 years ago. Longer.
Jesus.
Oh, I've seen it more recently.
Oh, have you? Have you indeed?
The Replacements from 2000.
American football star.
You've got football brackets
factory
American
worker.
player,
Yeah,
option.
that's the one.
Yeah.
or the other one that I think might be likely is Little League Baseball coach.
Yeah. Little League
No.
Baseball coach.
No, it's a football player, isn't he? Isn't that what it's all about?
Pretty funny that you thought I'd win this and you seem to be the expert.
Playing your own
Yes,
game.
it's green.
What football player?
Football player was correct. Okay. Question number 4. Johnny Mnemonic, 1995.
Data courier.
Yeah. Information.
Oh,
courier.
I was going to say butcher.
Isn't he I thought he was a pizza delivery guy. Doesn't he come in and he says pepperoni, extra cheese? Sort of?
But I think he's fibbing there, isn't he? He's fibbing.
Okay.
He's playing a prank.
I've misunderstood the whole film.
And the plan
You'll
accordingly.
see, it'll become apparent.
Dangerous Liaisons, 1988.
Taxidermist.
Matchmaker.
Kind of a dandy, a Prince Regent.
Yeah, there's an option here that says Rebellious Bastard Prince. That's got to be it, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Oh, no, it wasn't.
Ah.
Taxidermist it was, so I thought it was.
So Malkovich must be the rebellious bastard.
Oh, it won't let you go back either. Shit.
We'll never
You
know.
can never go back.
Shit.
You must have learned that.
I'll watch.
I don't know if it's making for good podcasting.
I don't think so either.
We'll do one more. Chain Reaction, 1996.
Metal detectorist.
He's a computer programmer of some kind.
Well,
He works in like a place that blows up. Is that a job?
I work in places
Fireworks
that
factory
explode.
man.
What are the options?
Okay, there's Alien Ambassador,
No.
Demon
No.
Hunter,
No,
No.
that's Constantine and Day the Earth Stood Still.
Energy Researcher.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Must be.
Energy research.
Hooray! 5 out of 5 with nothing wrong. Okay. Well, now that scintillating segment has concluded. Oh, by the way, that app is called Sporkle, which generates quizzes.
Okay.
It's
Oh,
quite
very
good.
nice. Thanks to the good people of Sporkle
Yeah.
for all your quiz needs.
What the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
You can type in pretty much any subject and it'll have a quiz on it. It's pretty good.
I don't know. I feel like life's too short.
Anyway,
Anywho.
what did the panel make of this week's film? And we'll begin with Adam.
Well, I'll start with the good. I thought Robert Longo's dedication to this film from the time he actually produced it and all the way through the last 25, 30 years. Fabulous. I love the fact that he says the studio were throwing money at him and hence why he thinks it wasn't the film it should have been. And since then, in 2021, they produced that black and white version and people have raved about it. And I'm quite interested, actually. I didn't enjoy this version, but I kind of get what some people have said about the black and white version. And I think, for me, I could probably say watching something in black and white sort of lowers your expectations on where it's going to fall in a contemporary style, if you understand what I mean. The acting's not going to be the same, and maybe the effects won't be the same. So it lowers your expectations, so maybe that's where a Johnny Mnemonic might fit a bit better with lower expectations. I did enjoy, I thought, the runtime, and it bobbed along nicely all the way through. We've done a few films, haven't we, quite recently. They've been sub 2 hours, and they've been quite good. It's quite nice to. It's a lost art, I think, of producing a film that just runs quite quickly at 90 minutes.
Yeah,
really.
I'm going to fuck you over next season. They're all going to be like 3 hours.
Keeping it tight. That's the worst. That is the worst.
I thought there was loads of like good content in there for like when you think the short story was written in 81. It's quite a nice little thing thinking about what 60 years time is, but obviously it
40.
wasn't that long after he wrote the book that all this was possible, essentially, wasn't it, more or less? All the downloading and the huge data speeds and things like that. And well, it was 1981, I think, wasn't it, the short story, and then this was 95. So yeah. So
short story's called We Can't Remember Whether or Not Androids Dream.
Wholesale.
Really, the bad parts are, I don't think the story is particularly anything groundbreaking. It's just like a courier trying to get from point A to point B, dodging various baddies on the way. I think the acting on the whole from everybody is pretty bad.
Whoa.
Keanu Reeves, I think in this film, is precisely why we need to give some actors the benefit of the doubt, and if there's something in there in him, and he's come up fine since then, but not in this film. He's terrible. I think he's awful. Ben and I did Conifer earlier this week, and I'm going to go out on a limb here. This film isn't his best work. He didn't nail it. He's all bark and no bite. I'm glad he branched out into other things. I was going to make another joke about his acting, but then I couldn't think of anything that would work. Actually, saying that, I'll just do a quick joke. None of you need to respond to this. Knock, knock. Ow! Who's there? Keanu Reeves. Oh, I'm sorry, Keanu. I thought you were a door.
I think you should make like a tree.
And split.
Get the fuck out of here.
So yeah, I look forward to seeing the black and white one, but other than that, I can't imagine I'm going to be watching this film again.
Well, that's fair enough. I think your opinion may well be par for the course, perhaps. Let's move on and hear from Ben.
Well, conceptually and thematically, I think this film is excellent. I think you get this prescient world where corporations and data are king. And I think it's built really well. The opening in particular has some nice touches that quickly sell the world to you. And then because you're so quickly thrust into the story because of that tight runtime, I think you already buy the premise. So you're on board straight away. But yeah, as Adam says, I think with the exception of the effervescent Dolph Lundgren, the performances across the board felt pretty flat. I'm not sure if that is the director's style or perhaps it was just inexperience. But in either case, I don't think like the generally underbaked characters as written helped the actors preparing for it. And then you've got stories that don't feel fully formed, like the AI of Johnny's, especially Johnny's mum. Does that come through the film, or is that from the book? I'm not sure.
No, I think it
It's
You see the flashback, don't you?
Right, it's supposed to be Johnny's
Same
mum,
actress, yeah.
and she's the head or the founder of that pharma company. And it just wasn't breadcrumbed very
I don't
well.
know if that's just the way he sees the AI, or if that was her job. I don't know.
Okay. I think in the short story it is that
Right.
way. But yeah, so I don't know if that's supposed to be like the big third act twist, but it becomes a bit of a shoulder shrug because it's not breadcrumbed at all. So overall, I give it's worth watching once to see the imaginative world building. Just don't expect the acting to fill your memory banks.
But what's that out of?
That is out of 180 gigabytes.
Oof.
Very nice. Okay. Let's hear next from reigning champion Super Dude.
So I don't think it would be a surprise for anybody to hear me defending Keanu Reeves' acting.
I was counting on it.
But in the first scene of this, within kind of 2 minutes, I couldn't defend him any longer. opening scene is dreadful. I don't know what has gone on with it, but the thing about that is Udo Kier matches him. They vibe, and they're both bad in that scene. But then once that scene's out of the way, they're both perfectly great. As soon as he shows up to the courier job with his shit pizza gag, he seems more relaxed. He seems more, in the role. I agree that the world building is great. You immediately feel like this is kind of a real environment. And from there, I think that his performance is not particularly memorable, but I don't think it's bad. I think he's a great teeth actor. Anytime Johnny has to log on to the web and he grits his teeth, which is something that he does in other films as well. I think he's really great at that.
I think that's one of his headshots that he sent in, yeah.
And for me, after that first terrible scene is out of the way, it just keeps piling on cool shit for me. Ice-T pops up. I was pretty happy about that.
Absolutely dreadful as well.
Henry Rollins pops up. Beat pops up. I love Takeshi. And as you say, Dolph Lundgren, I think, is really fun in this. It's a great role for him. I think there's a lot of inventive camera work in this. I really like the scene where Johnny goes into the bathroom to vomit and bleed from his nose, and the camera's in the ceiling, and that's really cool. You can see the intent behind this, as you say, from the director, who I tried to find some of his other work this week, and the only thing that I was really interested in was an REM music video, which wasn't really a memorable music video.
Was it Signed Away to Sleep Tonight?
No, this one goes out to the one I love, whatever that's called.
Right. Oh, that's a good song.
Yeah.
It's interesting. A film we covered in the second episode, which is Demolition Man, was also directed by a first-time director who was, primarily an artist.
Yeah.
And this guy too. Was that a thing back in the early 90s? Just
Russell
getting artists?
Mulcahy as well. He did Highlander. He was a music video director.
Quite a big pipeline, wasn't there? Music videos to film directors.
Yeah, David Fincher.
Michael Bay, I think.
Ridley Scott did ads.
And Tony.
Yeah. I love the world building. I think
Demolition Man did it better.
there's some great cyberpunk stuff in there. The taxi with the video phone in it, I think, is particularly cool. I'm interested to see the black and white version as well. I did hear about that.
Yeah.
And I think, although my first response, or my first reaction to seeing the visualization of the internet was, this is like some reboot-ass visualization.
Yeah.
Do you remember Reboot?
I do.
It grew on
ITV.
me. I really liked it by the end. It's because it's so stylized and interesting. It was a swing and a miss, but I appreciate a swing. and because of the format of our podcast and what we concentrate on, I just want to say how great I thought Takeshi was. He's so good. He feels sinister, like, immediately, and like a threat.
That guy's played a Yakuza once or twice before in the past.
Yeah. Whereas the guy who plays Shinji is like one of those corpo wetbags who is going to fuck up, but then the twist is that he gets the better of him. I really appreciated all that stuff. I can't say that it's one of the best films I've ever seen, but it's so full of interesting ideas that I did enjoy watching it.
Yeah, so a bit of a mixed bag so far from the panel. And it's kind of similar for me. My wife watched the majority of it this time with me, walked in maybe 20 minutes into the film. And at one point, I just sort of sighed and looked over to her. I was watching it on a special edition Blu-ray, lovely edition that I've got. But I sighed, looked over to her and said, yeah, I can see it's not a very good film, but I still love it.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
Yeah.
Because I remember reading about it in SFX magazine prior to its initial release, and not seeing it for some time until it came on probably terrestrial TV. But from then, whenever it came on, I'd watch it every single time and love it every single time. Dolph Lundgren always being a highlight as the sinister Jesus-styled creature. Such a bizarre idea that just comes out of nowhere in this film. It's from a different movie. It makes no sense, but it's brilliant. Keanu Reeves, as you say, not his finest hour, but I don't think he's tragically bad by any means.
No.
Dina Meyer is dialing it up to friggin' 20 with some of the weird toothy grimacing that she does.
Yeah,
I think she's actually quite brilliant in it. Ice-T, as you say, just playing himself as always, but he's a very charismatic man.
He's either Ice-T and he's a detective, or he's Ice-T and he's whatever he was in this, or he's Ice-T and he's a kangaroo.
Yeah.
but he's always solid.
I was just going to mention Tanko. Yeah. Ice-T is a kangaroo, man. Brilliant. Yeah, so it's a strange film, one that I've got a lot of affection for. Going back to the visualization of the internet, I've always loved that. It's so weird looking. It's kind of, I suppose, cinematically the next step up from what Lawnmower Man did.
Yeah.
With the angular characters kind of negotiating their way through physical cyberspace. There's lots of great imagery in that final data cracking sequence where Johnny's trying to gain the passcode to unlock the cure for NAS. I think there's a lot to really like in this. The Blu-ray that I have has a different cut of the film. It's called the Japanese cut, which is about I think it's about 6 minutes longer. It's not massively
Got more
longer.
Takeshi.
Presumably, yeah. I haven't watched it yet. I will do. It's one of those where it's like VHS quality. So I put it on for a minute and I thought, not tonight on this quality. One day I'll watch that.
I reckon it's just him dancing for like a couple of minutes in between scenes, doing the thing with the arms and the knees for a minute, and then just sitting back posing.
I read that in that cut there's more Takeshi and it's more violent. But I also read about the black and white cut that what William Gibson wanted and what they went in expecting was for it to be a lot funnier.
Okay.
So if it is funnier, I think that's cool. I'd be keen to see that.
I laughed at this version quite a lot anyway.
Just sound effects.
The music from Benny Hill.
Yeah.
The score was awful, don't you think, as well? It was just...
It's quite unmemorable. It's the main thing.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I don't remember it at all.
That's it. I think I can't remember. I was getting towards the end of the film, and I was like, "Has this had any music in it?" Because I couldn't remember anything that sort of set the tone at any point. And I just and I was like,
Even
no, it's
just
dreadful.
like a licensed tune to keep coming back to would have brought it up.
Yeah.
A bit,
Yeah.
Some Orbital or someone like that, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit prodigy.
Yeah. Love a bit of prodigy.
Oh, yeah. Charlie says no.
What about some of the weapons in this film? Any favourite weapons? There's one in particular I'm thinking of, which I'm sure...
Laser whip.
Yeah.
I love the laser
It's got to
whip.
be the laser whip,
Cool
isn't
as
it?
shit.
Yeah.
But also Dina Meyer's bizarre knife on the end of a chain. That's a lot of fun.
That kind of feels like it could exist, though. That must be based on something.
Yeah.
It's like a ninja weapon, isn't
Well,
it?
I think the laser whip, piano wire, whatever it is, feels like feasibly at some point it could. I mean, they sell it in this, is what I'm getting at. Like, it never looks fake in this. It looks like it belongs in this world.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Dina Meyer's weapon is something that you use in Soul Calibur, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody got anything else to add before we shuffle along?
Yeah, hopefully nobody's picked it as their favourite scene. I don't think it's not a scene,
no.
so...
I don't think anybody would have picked this as favourite scene.
Okay. Just a really cool, weird nod, I think, to The Shining. When Johnny's looking at it's a bowl with koi in it. But then these twin boys come round the side, giggling, like the twins from The Shining, but they both look like Danny from The Shining. Same haircut. It's got to be on purpose, right?
Presumably. No, it is odd.
Such a weird little moment.
Yeah.
Which is why I believe that it was meant to be funny. And I think if there'd been more funny stuff in it, when I saw that bit, I would have been like, that's funny. You know?
I guess it is, but then what actually is the joke there? That we're referencing The Shining.
But that they're both Danny. Yeah. In this future world, the twins are Danny. Isn't that weird?
Isn't that weird?
Isn't that weird?
I suppose a quick word for the sets. I think there was some pretty large-scale epic sets.
Yeah.
That must have had a hell of a lot of effort put into
Yeah.
them. I mean, it's pretty much all practical, obviously, except for the internet stuff, isn't
The
it?
place where Ice-T lives is really cool. You
Heaven.
know, that kind of alley place.
Yeah.
The alley.
Yeah, and inside as well. You know, the where the dolphin is and everything. Really cool. The nightclub is great. It feels like a real place. A huge shout out to the actors who played Udo Kier's hench people. They were fucking brilliant. Just
Hench folk.
instantly great. And yeah, I really enjoyed the opening text scroll on this. I love when a movie has a little bit of text at the start, like Blade Runner style. Really nice.
Little info dump, quite
Yeah.
economical.
Yeah.
Sets things up
Yeah.
instantly. Yeah, I'm not averse to that either.
Yeah.
In that nightclub, when you first see that nightclub scene, my note is futuristic nightclub entertainment is mental. I didn't know what the hell was going on.
I was right when I said about the Wachowskis using it for Matrix.
Yeah.
As a, I think in my dive into research, I found out they did use this. It's going to be like this, but just bang up to date or whatever, a different way. Yeah,
we're going to take that and we're going to make it bang up to date.
Weird that I
Sold.
didn't think of Keanu Reeves before Will Smith for it, considering. There's particularly I think the scene where he gets the info at the start, and they use the memory engrams of the TV show they're watching, which is like an anime. That felt very Matrix to me.
Yeah. Well, it's only the film The Matrix could have been.
Yeah, Johnny Matrix. I tell you what, for all of its kind of technical verisimilitude, the one thing I found laughably daft about this is how little space Johnny has in his head for some reason. He's got
60 gig or something like that.
something like that, yeah. I think,
So he doubled capacity to 180, didn't he? And then it was 360 was the files that he had to
something
upload.
like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a PS3.
But the real human brain has a lot of capacity. It's I did look it up, and it's huge. It's more than like
In terabytes.
2.5 petabytes. So 2.5 million gig.
Because I think we were still using floppy disk, weren't we, in 95?
Quite
to be fair?
possibly, yeah.
What's that, 180 megabytes?
No, it was like
So it's like,
kilobytes, wasn't it?
Times it by 1,000.
128 kilobytes, yeah.
Future-proof it. Times it by 1,000.
Yeah, there you go. Nobody ever come up with that.
Okay, let's find out the panel's favourite scenes, and we'll begin with Ben.
Well, my favourite scene features a man that's probably in every futuristic movie that's ever been made, Udo Kier. I love it when he gets sliced by the laser whip. It works really well.
Yeah.
The laser effect is I don't know how they've done it. It's not.
It's lovely.
Is it added in later?
It doesn't look rotoscope, does it?
Yeah.
But I don't,
It looks really
it
nice.
looks like they had a hot wire, but I'm assuming that it didn't. Maybe it was
I don't know how they did it.
maybe it was a piece of fibre optic cable.
However they did it, it looked really great,
Yeah.
and they cut in close, and the body just slides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked really, really good. That was my highlight.
No, that is a good one. Udo Kier has a lot of good screen deaths over the years, over the course of a very long career.
Good one in Blade.
Yes.
A very small one as well. I thought the TriStar ident was excellent.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen that for a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, with the Pegasus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nice. Let's hear Super Dude's favourite scene or sequence.
It's the brain hacking scene. I think that, as we said earlier, by that point the heavily stylized CGI had really grown on me. And in that scene in particular, when you get the visualization of Johnny with his kind of semi-cylindrical head hacking his brain, I just thought it's like when you get a low-budget film and you admire the invention of the effects they pull off. The limitations of CGI in 1995, they wouldn't have been able to produce anything realistic. And some...
What, like T-Rex?
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. In terms of a human, you know.
T-Rexes are famously easier to pull off than humans.
Yeah, they are. I mean, we still can't get humans right now because of the uncanny valley.
Let me point you in the direction of a little music video called Money for Nothing by Dire
Yeah.
Straits.
Yeah.
I think you find it difficult to separate.
You're going to be blown away.
Yeah.
So they took the alternative route, which was to create something artistic, and I really appreciate it. I thought it was great.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Adam.
I will say my favourite scene is the same as Super Dude's, but for an entirely different reason. He's got the headgear on and he's doing his teeth acting. And I was just like, where have I seen this before? And I was like, fuck, it's the mouth of Sauron.
I thought you were going to say it's the Matrix when he's in the Matrix
Nope.
and things are hurting him and he does his teeth acting.
He's just got a big piece of headgear, and all you can see is teeth and his lips moving crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first time he signs onto the internet, where they break into that, I don't know, shop or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's asking Dina Meyer's character to get him all the equipment he needs. One of the things he says is a pair of Thompson iPhones.
Thompson
Wow.
iPhones.
Yeah. They're headphones in that, I guess, but
Yeah.
he does say iPhones.
I imagine there must have been something quite literal about that as well, like they've got eyes on it that act as cameras or something weird like that.
Yeah.
Or he's talking about the
Right.
goggles that he wears and the
Could be.
phones to your eyes.
Yeah.
Shoe cake.
But just
Cake
hold
and
on.
shoe.
Interesting.
Well, I've also gone for an internet sequence, which I think is probably the first one, rather than were you guys referring to the final sequence where he's cracking the data?
I was.
Okay, well, I've gone for, I believe it's the first sequence. He puts his gloves on and ventures into the internet, and he has to solve puzzles. He's like shifting stuff around to gain access to Hotel Beijing. Another guy elsewhere, a Yakuza, is trying to lower his bandwidth to slow his internet down, but physically he's in the internet.
Bastards.
He zooms through a digital cityscape, then he drags the data back to fucking Newark. He finds the name Dr. Olcom. He contacts a guy called Strike, who appears in like a big blue box in the center of the screen, like shouting wildly at him.
Yeah.
And he then tells him that the data is from Pharmacom that he's got in his head. And then the mysterious ghost lady briefly appears to set that for later.
Yeah.
It's such a striking sequence straight away. I would love to interact with the internet. Just once like that,
Just
having
that
to fight your way through
Are you
it.
listening, Zuck? Come on, Zuck. this is the browser we want.
Haptic suit on your cock.
Don't even. Well then, let's hear if anybody has any favourite lines, and we'll begin this time with Super Dude.
I do have a favourite line, and it's from Dolph Lundgren, and it is very simply, "Halt, sinners!"
Yes. Douche. And he gets hit by a truck.
Brilliant. Such conviction.
Okay, let's move on to Adam.
It's the baldy guy, and he just says, "We've got all night, asshole!" In exactly that tone and inflection.
Yeah.
I didn't care for the slurs that Keanu Reeves was throwing around to the fella who was follically challenged.
Yes.
And what have you got for us, Ben?
Keanu Reeves' character is asked a question after breaking into somewhere. Where did you learn to do that? I used to have a summer job, breaking and entering. Smooth, very smooth.
Like it. Yeah. That's bagged him a few ladies.
There's probably a take of that's funny that they didn't use, and that's probably what William Gibson's talking about. There's a funny version of this film somewhere.
Yeah.
On set, everybody was probably like, "Oh yeah, that's brilliant," and then Cafe Lungo or whatever his name is was like,
Cafe Lungo.
let's do one more take. Keanu, can we do one more take where you don't just give us nothing? Give us nothing, girl.
Just take out all inflection from that line.
My favourite line is also a line from Dolph Lundgren when, ironically enough, his Jesus-themed hitman arrives in the low-tech base of heaven. And to announce his presence, he simply shouts, "Jesus time!"
I don't know if I read this, but did anyone else see this? That apparently Dolph Lundgren wormed his way into the production.
No.
Apparently he was not chosen by the director, but he was kind of forced upon the production. But I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't know about being forced. I think he was kind of hired as a bigger name villain and kind of shoehorned in that regard over Takeshi Kitano, who I don't think was a particularly big name in the West at that point.
Right.
I don't know whether whether necessarily being foisted upon the director would be right, but I don't know. I haven't looked into it that deeply.
It's interesting. There's lots of lovely information around this film. It's really good, really interesting.
In Johnny Mnemonic, the shady megacorporation Pharmacom controls the world's medicinal supplies during the course of a fatal global epidemic of nerve attenuation syndrome, also known as NAS. Little do ordinary citizens know that they also control the cure for NAS, but suppress its existence to fuel their grip on power and profit. Hiring Yakuza and occasionally Jesuses as their own personal hitmen, the corporation have no issues murdering anyone who threaten the narrative that they want to perpetuate as regards the NAS problem. But what did the panel think of their evil scheme? And we shall begin with... who are we on now? Super Dude.
I think their scheme is fine. They just really under budget it or something. They just need a lot more Yakuza guys. Because there is nothing else they could do. They need to get his head.
Yeah.
They just don't have enough guys on the case. Just Shinji wandering around, and then eventually, I don't even know what Takeshi's character's called, but he kind of goes around as well. What you need, Takahashi, yeah. What you really need is like a Crazy 88 situation, like a lot of guys on the case.
Yeah, agreed. Let's hear next from The Adam.
Yeah, I totally agree with Super Dude there. They were cheapskates.
Fucking cheapskates. Fucking no money. Give us the fucking money.
And they didn't. I think they should have used a bit more money, a bit more high-tech, space-age methods to bring down old Johnny Mnemonic, but they didn't. So, serves them right for being cheap.
Fair dues. Fair fucking dues. Let's hear from them.
Yeah, I'd agree. Also, Takashi's supposed to be one of the bosses, but he's not very hands-on, is he?
No, he should be getting his hands dirty.
Or at least, invested a bit more in the in manpower. I felt like there was a lot they could have done. It didn't seem particularly hard to catch Johnny. No. So, for a lack of effort on the bad guy's part, they will be getting 6 florets of cybernetic information superhighway broccoli.
Ooh,
and most of those broccolis are for hiring Dolph Lundgren.
Okay. That's cool, all things considered.
I think you've been very generous. I think you're very generous there.
Well, they get pretty close, don't they? To be fair.
Speaking of hiring Dolph Lundgren, I've had a look, and all I can find about his casting is the reason the movie has such an international cast is due to the way it was funded. So it had funding from all different countries, and apparently Lundgren was cast to appeal to the Swede market, as they had put in, a significant amount. Udo Kier for Germany. And
Swede market?
Swede.
Oh, sweet, sorry.
And Takeshi Kitano for the Japanese market.
Right.
Interesting. As for the plan, pretty much the same as everybody else. Yeah, they've got presumably a lot of resources at their disposal, Pharmacom and their employees, the Yakuza. So just throw a bit more at it. He's not particularly skilled in terms of gunplay or hand-to-hand combat, as we see in the film.
He's a digital Deliveroo driver, essentially, isn't he? That's all he is. You could take one of them out with a soggy pizza box.
There's your pull quote.
Here you go. I know probably timing's a bit bad for the podcast, but I just reading an interview now with Johnny Longo. I don't know what his real name is.
Cafe Longo.
Robert Longo.
Cafe Longo.
Yeah.
So he says, originally I wanted to make a black and white film like Alphaville, talking about Jean-Luc Godard's sci-fi from 1965. Instead, I made a movie for 28 million. When people give you money, they think they can tell you what to do. It was fucking horrible. Johnny Mnemonic is about 65% of what I hoped it would be. Each week they came back to me and told me I had to have a new actor to sell the movie in the Middle East. We have to have Dolph Lundgren. Oh, fuck no, Longo recalled. Dolph Lundgren shows up with his acting coach, a guy with a cape and a cane.
Yeah.
We said, get the fuck out of here.
David.
He says it was torturous. We tried to make the best movie we could. It was really
I
hard.
think that's totally unfair of him to blame Dolph for any of that.
Yeah, he's one of the best things about it.
Yeah.
Totally. Ridiculous.
He says he talked to William Gibson. He said he wants to turn it black and white for the 25th anniversary. And he says they're in the process of trying to figure out how to do a 45-minute version of it without Dolph.
What?
Right. I guess it doesn't make a lot of sense, his character, so maybe that's the reasoning behind it.
It doesn't, but then it adds something to it that it would, if you took it away, would make it.
I think so.
And then if they're saying it should be a funnier film, then you're taking the funniest element out of it.
Yeah.
So I think he's probably been sniffing too much glue.
Or just the right amount.
It beggars belief.
You heard it here, Peril Pals. Please moderate your glue sniffing. Sniff glue responsibly.
Morning, noon and night, but only those times.
Yeah.
And only Pritt stick. No other types of Before we move on to the competitive round, we'd like to thank you for listening to our show so far. Please subscribe, leave us a written review, and follow us on Apple Podcasts if you can. It's the best platform to help us grow the podcast, and you Peril Pals are an important part of that process. We are a completely independent podcast and always get many new listeners when we do get review, as it boosts our visibility on Apple's charts, which is the largest podcast platform out there. So please do take a few minutes to write a few words and help spread the word about the show. If you aren't on Apple, rate us on your provider of choice and follow us on socials at DiabolicalPod, and also visit our beautiful website at www.diabolicalpod.com. We have arrived at the part of the show where the Panel of Peril compete for precious peril points on the perilous leaderboard. Each member gets 1 vote, which will equal 1 point on the board, but do remember, you cannot vote for yourself, you saucy babies. Our task this week is to recover the incriminating data from the film's titular courier by confronting him either in the real world or in cyberspace. Now, let's do this! And I'm going to begin today's festivities with Adam.
Bugger. Oh, shit.
Huh? Biological data couriers? Blimey! What will they think of next, eh? Cool. What a time to be alive. Back in my day... What? Moon pie? Cool. What a time to be alive. If Neil Armstrong were here today... Talking fish? Cool. What?
And so on and so forth. Pharmacom have known and have been experimenting on smart animals for a long time in how they store and process data. The black market or underground procedure of cybernetic modification has been adopted by the corporations but kept off the books. Many of Pharmacom's valued employees have expanded their horizons and usefulness to store or carry data or viruses that, if discovered, Pharmacom can deny all knowledge of and blame gangsters or possibly Bogey Nige for hacking them and corrupting their information. The street preacher, in an attempt to spread the word of God and possibly to pocket a few dollars more, has himself been modified. Not just storage, but with a special modem that allows him to remotely hack into other cybernetically enhanced beings, specifically to transport his consciousness from his body to another, kind of like a first-person shooter, to then transfer the data back to his own body. Hunting down the dim-witted, frequently startled and emotionally inept mnemonic isn't a problem. Sneaking into the building near heaven, he discovers Flipper is apparently a genius. He begins his work. switching on his modem to gain control of the soggy manimal. Often confused for a fish for mild comedic lines in a film, he's jacked into Jones. No longer Jones. He's become a Scandinavian sea swimmer. Dolphin Lundgren. Street Preacher, now directly tapped into the data feed, transfers the data from Jones back into his professionally expanded human noggin, courtesy of Pharmacom. Before he severs the connection with Mnemonic, he sends a bulk download back down the wire from Jones to Mnemonic, exploding his head and shattering the tank Jones inhabits. Flopping about all over the floor, keeps Icebone and his cohort distracted and trying to keep him alive, whilst Preacher makes good his escape.
What happened?
Yeah, I was just going to say nutshell that.
Basically, the Preacher has got a wireless modem that you can hack into other...
Did he already have that, or did they put that in?
Pharmacom put it into him.
Already, before?
Yeah,
Or
I did a whole line of like Pharmacom put stuff into people to carry stuff around and do stuff.
Yeah, I
It's
heard
all
that.
under the radar.
I heard it. I'm just thinking the timeline.
Yeah, he already had it, yeah.
That's fortunate, because I reckon it would have taken a while, that. And this film happened over the course of, what, 2 days?
Oh, no, it's just lift up a flap of skin, plug it in, pop it back down. Right. He's already on Pharmacom's books, though, isn't he? So he's one of these employees that's already got it.
So why wouldn't Jones just electrocute the frick out of him as soon as Lundgren enters
Doesn't
the building?
see him come in. No, he's in the building next door.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have to be in line of sight. He just has to be sort of like Wi-Fi. You don't have to see the router. You can just pick up the signal.
What if he needed to have a wired connection? Would he insert his penis in the dolphin?
It depends if
In the
it's
blowhole, specifically.
Ethernet or USB.
Ethernet.
He's got one of those connections on the end of his junk that's got like 4 or 5 different connections, so he just goes which one.
Does he call it his dongle?
He might.
I don't know if we've talked before on the podcast about how I don't like dolphins.
Don't like dolphins.
Yeah.
What?
Creepy, aren't they? They
How have I known you for 40 odd years and not known that?
they engage in gang rape, don't they? For fun.
Yeah.
Not always.
There wasn't there one that been attacking people recently and it was sexually frustrated and that's why it was attacking people.
Yeah, I read that.
Not always, but sometimes.
They're just like people, really, aren't they?
A couple of bad apples.
Fry, you're covered in bed sores. Not covered.
I like Harvey Weinstein. He wasn't always sexually abusing people.
Can't tar all dolphins with the same brush, can you? They're not all rapists.
I think they are.
Well, we don't want to get sued. Not all dolphins are rapists. Okay.
Part of their culture.
Any more cues for A?
Oh, nice. But no.
Then let us move on to Ben's evil scheme.
When Takahashi hires the street preacher, he knows he is hiring one of the best trackers in town. And because the situation is so precarious, he decides to accompany the religious nut on the hunt to make sure the job is done right. After the preacher tortures a few folks, the duo find their way to the hospital where Johnny, Jane, and Henry Rollins are. But instead of bursting in, Takahashi asks for a few moments to prepare. Using his superior Japanese education system intellect, he evaluates every possible exit. Once ready, he gives a signal for the preacher to enter the room. Then, he waits. When Johnny and Jane escape the preacher who is busy fucking up Henry Rollins, they run into Takahashi, who stands in front of them, a sly grin on his face. "Welcome, Johnny and Jane, to the ultimate challenge," he says. "If you want to escape, you'll have to survive Takahashi's castle!"
I can't believe I didn't know someone was going to do this.
He gestures dramatically, revealing a nightmarish obstacle course. Jane cracks her knuckles and says, "Let's do this." Johnny pouts a bit, no real expression of any kind of emotion on his face. But Jane reassures Takahashi that this is completely normal. Takahashi hits a big red button and carnival music blares out of nearby speakers. The first challenge, the Cyber Slime Slide. Johnny and Jane take a running start at the slippery ramp coated in neon green in front of them, but the slick surface sends them flailing. Johnny smashes into a wall, but Jane manages to maintain some control, sliding through with a bit of grace. Takahashi, narrating to no one in particular, says, "That was less than impressive. But now they face the Hammer Gauntlet mainframe." Giant foam hammers swing from the ceiling. Jane ducks and weaves like a pro, but Johnny, still disoriented from the slime slide, takes a hit square in the chest and is sent flying into a pit of noodles. "Ah, the noodles. Always a crowd favourite," says Takahashi. Next up, the duo enter the Tunnel of Digital Terrors, where they must crawl past spinning electrified discs. Jane navigates through with expert precision, only getting superficial cuts and a mild shock or two. Johnny, however, is not so lucky. He gets spun around, zapped, sliced, and ejected out the other side in 2 distinct pieces. "Congratulations, Jane," says Takashi. "You've won." He hands her 100,000 in real monies, collects Johnny's freshly severed head, and walks off into the sunset / industrial lighting.
Where was Craig Charles during all this?
Yeah.
So, where does this take place? Where are Henry Rollins and Dina Meyer when this happens?
Is it the hospital at Grand
Hospital
Central
at Grand
Station,
Central
something like that?
And has that always been Takahashi's castle?
No, he brings it with him.
Okay.
Suitcase.
He's got a few people help him set up after
Okay.
he's evaluated the exits.
I'm
yeah.
just thinking about the timelines.
Timelines, it works. Timeline-wise, it works, yeah.
Just throw it up.
You set up a fun house in seconds.
So where has Takahashi had this idea for this game show style obstacle course? Is it something that he regularly
His upbringing in Japan. Those things are on TV all the time in Japan.
Okay.
Is it still rerun? Is it Takeshi's Castle?
There's a new series.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think it's on Prime, isn't it?
They got like Ramesh Ranganathan doing the commentary for it.
Can't stand him. He's on everything.
Not in Japan, they don't.
He's dull as fuck. Him and Rob Beckett on everything.
They got Takeshi back, didn't they? But he doesn't do much.
Doesn't do much, yeah, they just wheel him out,
Yeah.
yeah. He hasn't done an awful lot since he had a pretty bad bike accident. But he's ostensibly a famous comedian in Japan.
Yeah.
But he also does a lot of straight acting. And
It's like the Eric Banner of Japan.
He's the teacher in Battle Royale, isn't he?
Yeah.
So is Jane in on this? Is she?
No, she's just, because she's got all the upgrades, she's really good at it.
But what happens if it was her that got chopped up and not Johnny?
Wouldn't have had to give her 100 grand.
Yeah, he'd have saved himself 100 grand in real monies.
Johnny might have escaped.
Nah, too slow. The upgrade's slowed him down. The implant,
Okay, so got a headache. That's when
because every time he's about to dodge, he gets like a brain flash. He goes and then he.
Well, she's having problems of her own, isn't she? She's not stable.
No, she's vibrating though at a high speed, so she's like a hummingbird. She's through.
So her molecules pass through any
Yeah,
obstacles.
exactly.
Okay.
Well then, now that one's over with, let's hear from Super. Wait for it, dude.
Oh, that was on tentacles then.
There's got to be a way to work this out, pleads Johnny, as Shinji lifts the lid from the cryogenic bucket that will shortly become home to his severed head. There is, agrees Shinji, as he forces a foam ball into Johnny's mouth, and heeds your mama's request to hurry up the procedure. Before he can begin to operate, Jane, who had been observing events from her vantage point in the ceiling above, crashes through the vent, knocking Shinji off his feet and deftly severing the ties that bind Johnny's feet with her handy swingamajig. Chain! What say we pay you for a night's work and you just walk away? Urges Ralphie. Johnny tongues the ball out of his mouth and makes his move. I'll pay you 20 grand. 50, Jane counters. Before Johnny can agree to the deal, Shinji cleverly interjects. 51, he bids. 52, raises Johnny. 53. 54. 55. 56. 57. 58. This exchange goes on for some time. 59. 60. 61. While Jane is distracted, dreaming about all the real onions she will be able to afford because she hates synth onions, Ralphie's bodyguard, Pretty, slyly grabs the end of Jane's weapon, giving your mama a window of opportunity in which to grapple Jane, as Shinji seizes the moment to swing around the table and cut off Johnny's feet with one of those laser cheese wires, cauterizing the wound. Now, Mr. Smith, you won't be going anywhere. Let's see this 76 grand you claim you can afford. 76 grand being the last top bid during the fracas. Johnny is forced to admit he doesn't have that much, and he thought Jane would be cool once he explained, but she is not cool at all, and she yanks her chain away from Pretty and cuts off Johnny's head with just a few expert spins. Shinji promptly pays Jane the 51 grand he originally offered, arguing the subsequent bidding war was moot, and fair enough, thinks Jane, she's happy to get it. Shinji takes Johnny's head away in his ice bucket, like so much hotel champagne, and Jane dies of NAS, but not before enjoying her beloved onions and a weekend at Center Parks.
Ooh, futuristic Center Parks. What kind of rides can you go on?
It doesn't have any rides.
What activities have they got? What activities?
Just a shed. You live in a shed in the woods.
Archery.
The haptic suit.
Touch rugby.
You live in a shed in the woods and it costs 49 grand. She's got 2 grand left over for onions.
That's like, what, 4 onions?
That keeps her in onions till she dies.
Do you think she wouldn't be miffed? Jane wouldn't be totally miffed at, like, presumably Shinji had bid 75 and then Johnny Mnemonic had said 76 and then he couldn't produce. But do you think she'd maybe argue a bit harder for the 75 or meet in the middle somewhere and not just accept 51?
Yeah, possibly, but I mean, by that point, she's already decapitated her only ally in the room. Everyone else in there is against her. She has
Well, at that point, they aren't, are they? She's in the middle, really. She could have taken either side.
No, because at the point at which she refuses to pay her the 75 grand, that's after she's killed Johnny.
Sorry, okay.
Yeah.
Fits into the timeline, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
What if,
Nope.
bear with me here,
Oh.
Yeah.
in the confusion
Yeah.
of the bidding war,
Yeah.
just after Johnny's lost his feet,
Right.
he actually manages to get up off the operating table and start
Yeah.
running out on the stumps.
He doesn't.
Describe that to me.
Well, he'd have to be somehow freed from his other shackles, because she only
Let's
frees
say that
his
happen.
feet.
I just want to picture him
Okay,
running away
so-
on his ankles.
So what happens is he kicks Udokia with his stump, but because his foot is in there, he misses. But he gets blood on Udokia's face. It gets in his eyes. Like, fucking hell! And then Johnny seizes the moment to hop off the table. And of course, although the wound is cauterized, there is still a bit of blood there, and he does slide a bit. So he slides towards the door, and as he's leaning backwards, he's going, "Whoa, whoa!" Very much like Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone when he slides
Over the ice.
Exactly.
That's brilliant.
I'm buying that, yeah.
I'm noting that down in my copybook.
Well, if there's no more questions for Super Dude, then I will bring us home. Short and sweet this week. Short and sweet.
Short and sweet.
I mean, mine could have ended at 51. I thought about it.
Yeehaw! Yakuza here with some good old-time advice on recovering data from mnemonic couriers here. We go with all guns blazing with a big old posse of rootin' Yakuza after tracking Johnny's trail via his GPS. Loads of guys, all packing heat and plenty of bullets, and we corner him while he's inside that there internet. We'd shoot pop-ups at him left, right, and center, and that crazy varmint ain't invested in no ass locker of renown, physically slowing down his progress, allowing us to catch up on him Yakuza style and snuff him out. Seriously, partners, just track him and kill him in the real world as he's surfing the web. The old Matrix method, if you will. And that's it. Just they know he's using the internet, so just fucking slow him down, track him, and kill him while he can't defend himself.
Slow him down.
It's pretty easy.
Give him an advert for knob pills.
Was that Ice-T doing that? Was that the accent you were doing?
Ice-T or Dolph Lundgren, take your pick.
So the Yakuza, they do try to track him when he's on the internet. The first time But it doesn't work. He escapes, doesn't he?
Yeah, but they don't physically slow him down while he's using the internet that time. They lower his bandwidth, but that doesn't slow him sufficiently. They need to shoot the pop-ups at him and the other shit that I mentioned that I don't remember to slow him down even more.
See, I didn't catch any of the things that you said, you see, I think, because the accent was too thick.
They're shooting pop-up adverts at him and stuff like that.
Give me an example of the kind of adverts that might slow him down.
He's having to close tabs all the time.
Yeah, so it's stuff
that
like,
kind of works,
at this point in time,
2021.
1995. No, I'm not taking the actual setting date. I'm taking 1995 as the date. So we're going to be doing like Friends Reunited.
Okay. Viagra.
Viagra, like Super Dude just said.
Mm-hmm.
What else could you be having?
There was no Viagra in 1995.
Sunscreen.
Yeah,
Sunscreen was still a relatively new
Sunscreen?
invention. Yeah. Only 20 years young, sunscreen, by that point. Invented in the 70s, wasn't it? Still young.
Yeah.
Still young.
Was it?
What else? Sneakers. An advert for sneakers.
Yeah. An advert for a firewall. Get a firewall.
Viagra was 1989. It was Pfizer originally discovered the medication in 1989.
Bloody Pfizer.
While looking for a treatment for angina.
Instead, it turned out for a treatment for a vagina.
Whoa. Big fat pork injection. Strip it.
What was that shit that the animated shit the websites used to have all over it? Flash. That's popping up everywhere.
Yeah. Adverts just for web browsers. AOL. Ads popping up.
Yeah, and it was those horrible old little grey boxes as well. They used to go pop, 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 all over the screen.
Yeah.
You're like, for fuck's sake.
A couple of instant messenger windows.
He's going to be wading through all that, like through black treacle, the thickest of treacles, allowing the Yakuza to catch him, kill him.
I like the way you pronounce Yakuza the same way as Ice-T does. Shit! It's the Yakuza! It's the Yakuza!
Yeah, I don't fear them. They can come and kill me. They'll never find me.
They've got a bad reputation, but actually, in real life, all they do is they go to karaoke and like hostess bars.
And play 2p flicks off the side of the curb.
Yeah, and go bowling and stuff. I played this video game, so I know.
Yeah. Hearts of gold, all of them. Absolute hearts of gold. Stoic, but hearts of gold.
Yeah.
Those plans were bum-squeakingly evil, weren't they? Give him a round of applause at home, why don't you? Go on, give him a round of applause.
Thank you very much.
First we had Adam's shit plan. Then we had Ben's shit plan. Next we had Super Dude's shit plan. And finally, we had my own shit plan. And so, without any further ado, let us put pen to paper and cast our votes. First up, let's hear who Adam cast his vote for.
Well, I think it was a lovely little plan with a nice little anecdote in there to keep us all tickled. So I've voted for Super Doob.
Super Doobie Doob, where are you? I'm here having a big sandwich.
Put your sandwich down for a second, Super Dude, and let us know who you voted for.
It's a reach around because
the
phrase Dolphin Lundgren won me over immediately.
Yes, I thought I'd get a vote out of it.
Voted
Yes.
for Adam, and you can see there I've written ADA in letters, but then I've used Johnny Mnemonic's hair as the M.
I was praying. I thought if I just say Dolphin Lundgren, surely that'll get me a vote.
Just
even
genius.
if the plan is shit.
Honestly, don't know how it didn't occur to me when I was watching the film.
Okay then, Ben, who have you cast your vote for?
Well, the thought of Keanu Reeves having no feet really tickled me, so I voted for Soup Dude. And I've drawn some stumpy legs.
Like Mr. Tumnus.
Exactly.
And I too was tickled by the phrase Dolphin Lundgren.
Oh, yes, 2 votes.
Adam,
It's a split.
it's the old 7-10 split because you've each got 2 points.
I was happy with the point that I'll take 2.
Let me
Beautiful.
just-
I'll let you off this week because I'll admit, my plan wasn't very realistic.
No, it was
Timelines.
Fucking timelines did me again.
slightly less believable than an explosion at a factory that produced explosives.
Right, fuck off on that one. That one was the only one that would work.
I think what happened to me was it started off with so much promise. Takeshi's Castle, that sounds fun.
No,
and it was really bleak.
Takahashi's castle.
Yeah.
Takahashi's Castle.
Legally distinct.
But then it was just really bleak. Like, the deaths should have been funnier, like they are in the real show.
Well, there's noodles.
Yeah.
Okay then, Gaz. How does that leave the leaderboard this week? Well, Gaz, a little bit of a change this week. As in joint first place with 9 points each are Super Dude and Adam.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Whereas in joint last place with 7 points apiece are Ben and you, Gaz.
Ooh.
That will do us for another batch.
Oh, no, you've got to ask.
What?
Who's doing the next film?
Yeah, I know. I'm
Oh,
gonna
sorry.
do it.
I thought...
Yeah, he's done it in the wrong order for most of the run.
Yeah.
It's really annoying when you do the edit because you want to start playing the outro music, but you can't.
Shut the fuck up. Okay. That will do us for another batch of evil schemes, but we shall return next Monday for another dose of podcasting with a scintillating selection from Super Dude. What we doing then? But, Peril Pals, next week we're going to take a break from our regularly scheduled seasonal episode as we welcome another special guest from the Fundamentals podcast. It's Harley Mumford taking on the movie Cats and Dogs. Should be a blast. Join us then, next week, with us, won't you? Be there, and also do be square. Goodbye for now.
When I chose this film, I had no idea that it would be getting a really unexpected legacy sequel this year. I'm only going to say the name of this film once, and I urge the rest of you not to repeat it twice. The film is Beetlejuice.
Ooh, I am looking forward to that. Finally, a good film.
Yeah.
Who's it? Diane Keaton? Should be good.
And Billy Crystal, of course.
Billy Crystal, yeah.
Billy Crystal.
Billy
famous
Crystal,
voice.
Billy Baldwin, and
Billy Bob Thornton.
Billy Boyd.
Join us next week as we discuss Beetlejuice's evil scheme. Until then, remember, everything will be alright in the end, and if it isn't alright, then it isn't the end.
Guess who's got a song on the Johnny Mnemonic soundtrack?
Tina Turner.
Kylie Minogue.
Brian Ferry.
Orbital.
Oh, really?
What?
Maybe I subliminally knew, or I just repressed it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
weird, isn't it? I must have known it.
It's
That's
called
funny.
Sad But True. Do you think it's the Metallica song?
It could be, because on the Spawn soundtrack, Kirk Hammett plays guitar on Satan, the Orbital song.
Okay.
Kirk's Hammer.
Can we end recording, please? Because I'm going to head off in a bit.
Oh, we're not singing that.